and welcome to Case Closed. I'm Charlie Langton, your host. We'll soon go inside an actual courtroom in the Warren District Court to see a real small claims case in action. Now, under Michigan law, small claims cases may be brought by individuals seeking $3,000 in damages or less. Neither side may be represented by an attorney, and the judge's decision is final. Now, let's take a look at the first case of two engines, too bad.
All right, Ms. Tyson, go ahead. Tell me what this case is all about.
Okay, I know Cal because I used to work for a company that delivered parts to him. So that's how I knew him. I knew he worked on cars, and so I called him one day and I asked him to how much he would charge me to change an engine in my GMC Yukon.
To change an engine, put in
Yes.
a whole new engine?
Yes, and it was September the 20th of 2010. He agreed to change the engine. First he told me he'd find an engine, but the price that he had, it was a little out of my range, so I told him I'd find my own engine.
So you would find your own?
Yes.
All right.
So I found an engine, and it was through a guy that he did some work with as well, and he told me to come and pay him the $700 labor. So I did that. I paid $1,000 for the engine. When I picked up the vehicle, on the way going home, the vehicle cut off between 8 Mile and Shaner to 8 Mile and DeQuinder. It tried to shut off on 2 occasions. The third time that it tried to shut off, it actually did, right around the corner from my house at a car wash. I called him, I let him know that the car had shut down, and he said, well, I told you that the radiator needed to be changed, and that's why it shut off. So I told him, I said that, you know, I know a little bit about cars, and I know that my vehicle is not, it doesn't seem like it's getting any fuel. It has nothing to do with the radiator. It's not overheating or anything like that. So he was a little irritated, but he told me he'd send somebody out to pick me up and bring the vehicle back, which was a 3-hour wait. He picked up that vehicle, and I got it back the next day. And November the 3rd of 2010, I was taking my daughter to the, to school or whatever.
What day did you get it back?
I got that back the next day after he had picked it up.
Which is when? What date?
I want to say about the last week of September.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
November the 3rd, it broke down on me early in the morning.
Did you have any problem during that 5-week period?
I didn't have any issues.
Okay.
It was a good engine, just it was good. And I'm on my way home. The gauge light came on. Check gauges.
Check gauges?
Check gauges. I looked down at my gauges. The oil light was, the oil switch was all the way to the end.
Oil pressure light?
That's right. And oil was coming out my truck so bad. A lady pushed me out of the street, and she pushed me to her vehicle, in front of her house.
How many miles on it?
Well, after you changed the engine had 78,000 miles
The
on
new
it.
engine?
Yes.
No, the one that you put in, actually.
Yes.
Okay.
So after she pushed me to her house, I called a mechanic that I had dealt with, and I let him know what was going on. I asked him would he come over and see what was going on, and then I called Cal, and I let him know that my engine, my truck has shut down, And he said, well, I'll send a tow truck driver out. The tow truck driver came out. As he was putting the truck up onto the hoist or the flatbed, I took pictures up under there because it was just dripping oil. So I wanted to know where the oil was coming from.
Okay.
My mechanic also had looked up under there, and he said, oh, my gosh. He said, you wouldn't believe this. You got to get up under here and see this. This is not right. So Cal got the truck back, and he said, oh, well, you let all the oil run out of the vehicle. And I'm like, how did I let all the oil run out of the vehicle? The job that you did was a bold job, and I want you to honor that job.
It was a what job?
It wasn't proper.
Ah.
Okay? And so he told me that they did a good job and that I bought a bad engine, and he wasn't going to replace that engine, that I had to replace that engine. I said, I didn't do a bad job. I said, you did do a bad job. I'm not going to replace the engine. It's your fault. It's your shop's fault. He says, no. You got a warranty on it. Call and find out, if they give you another engine. I said, first of all, there was nothing wrong with the engine that I gave you. the guy that I bought the engine from is not going to give me another engine because he's going to also say that there's nothing wrong with this
Well,
engine.
of course.
So I called the guy, because after calling him so many times, and he would just give me the runaround about how you need to call this Danny guy that I bought the engine from. He told me, he said, no, I'm not gonna give you another engine because, he said, and it's nothing against you. He said, that was a good engine that I gave you, and I'm not gonna eat the cost for the damage that, Cal's shop caused. So that went on for months. I would call him and check on my truck. One particular time I
What do you mean
called him.
check on your truck? The truck, where was the truck?
It was at his shop
Why was it there?
because I wanted him to exchange the engine.
But he wasn't gonna do that, right?
That's what he says he wasn't gonna do.
So why did you leave it there then?
I had no way of moving it, and I wanted
Well, I
him
guess
to.
not.
I wanted him to fix my engine. It was his fault, and I would call him, and he one time told me that I'll pull your truck out into the street, and I'm not gonna deal with this. Well, so I started making arrangements. The week of February 22nd, making arrangements to start my lawsuit, and started getting information. And then I was told that go check your truck. Went up there. He said the truck's been fixed for a week. I just didn't have your phone number to call you. I get up there. There's the truck is running and everything, but there's radiator fluid leaking out, and it's real loud. And he said, you're gonna need a new radiator. I said, you just changed the radiator, when you put the engine in. He says, oh, we did? I said, yeah, you did. So, he said, well, it's probably not, you don't probably need a new radiator. He put some more radiator fluid in there. He said, oh, that's on the ground because of when I poured it in there before it spilled out. So I said, okay. But I still didn't trust his work, so I went to Ray Latham, and I had them inspect my vehicle. And they took the vehicle in, and they said that it was basically the person who put it in basically put the engine in there and just stopped.
What do you mean stop?
He didn't properly install wires. They weren't properly secured. There was no gasket on the exhaust manifold. Wiring harnesses weren't properly secured. Air cleaner's not properly secured. Lower intake was leaking coolant. The oil filter adapter was leaking coolant. He said it was basically, and they charge a $45, fee for you to look at your vehicle. The technician basically said that it was so much going on with that vehicle that he got tired of writing down all the things that he did wrong with the installation. He said he wasn't gonna charge me a dime. He gave me a receipt. He told me, he said, I wouldn't even be willing to fix this.
He would not?
He would not.
Why?
He said because it was so much not done right. He also said he didn't understand why the vehicle was even running. It's a fire hazard based on the way the wiring is. And also, at the end, he said, well, let me run out. He said, I don't know why, your check engine light isn't coming on. So he went out and checked it. He says disconnected.
Are you still driving it?
Yes. I have no other choice. That's my only vehicle.
I'm surprised you could drive it at all if that engine was, if he did such a bad job.
Yeah, it's a bad job. But I'm gonna tell you this: it did try to overheat. I drove it. When it did overheat, I stopped driving it and let it cool off. Poured some water in it. Got it home. But now, just to keep it from overheating, I just keep water in it as much as I possibly can until I can do something different.
Let me see what you have. Why, you're suing for $3,000, right?
Yes.
How did you come up with that figure?
Everything I paid for him, everything he charged me to do the work, after everything was said and done, he says, well, there's no warranty on the labor, That was unacceptable to me. Even up until the point to where I finally picked up my vehicle, because this was a 5-month thing. After the first month that I got it back, it was 3 months later that I was without my vehicle, for 3 months. All through the winter months, I was on the bus. When I picked up my vehicle, I recorded him saying that it was his fault. He knew it was his fault, and that's why he went out and he bought another engine to replace the one that he ruined. He said, I got someone to work on your vehicle, and I have 500 cars coming out of here every day. I can't I can't check on every vehicle that leaves in and out of this place. And yes, it was my fault. I should have checked up behind it.
I don't see how you're getting to $3,000. You've given me only one receipt from Cal's Auto Tech for $1,847. Everything
Okay.
else.
That was an estimate, Your Honor.
Yeah, that's just an estimate.
That's for us supplying the motor.
how did you pay him $3,000?
I paid $1,000 for the motor. He
Okay.
charged me $700 for the labor.
Okay.
I paid $90 for the radiator.
Okay. That's $790.
Okay.
Outside of, I'm not counting so far what you paid for the engine.
Okay. I also want him to pay me for the fact that he knew this was his fault. He wouldn't rectify this situation, which put me in a bad situation. I was on unemployment going to school when I took my vehicle in. I got a job with DT Energy, and I was gonna do some meter reading, just, to get me over. But with that job, you needed your own vehicle. They don't supply the cars, you have to have your own vehicle. I wasn't able to take that job, they had to end up letting me go. A month later, or 2 months later, I ended up over here at the law firm. And Your Honor, to me, like, once again, he more than inconvenienced me when he knew that this was his problem.
So you wanted to pay you more than the $700 you paid him just because you're mad? And you
I'm
take
not
that-
mad. I'm not mad.
Angry?
I'm over that. I'm not.
You just want to punish him then, right?
No, he knows he did wrong.
I know that, but I'm just trying to figure out really what the motivation is for you asking for more than $700. You just think you should pay for the inconvenience that
Yes,
you've
I do.
suffered. That's sort
Yes.
of like punishment. It's called punitive damages.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm suing for.
Ah, okay. Well, you've given me something from Ray Latham, dated March 12th. It says, customer had engine replaced elsewhere and would like inspection as to installation of engine. Seems to have loud exhaust and coolant leak. Advise 0.545, 0.00 no heat. I'm not sure what that means. Tech comments. Hose is not routed properly. Hose is not properly secured. No gasket on exhaust manifold. Exhaust donut missing. Wiring harness not routed properly. Wiring harness not secured in holders. Air cleaner not secured on properly. Lower intake leaking coolant. Oil filter adapter leaking oil.
Plaintiff says defendant didn't fix the car, but it was the plaintiff that actually brought the engine to defendant, and who knows what kind of engine that was. Seems like the plaintiff wants to punish the defendant. Can't do that, but let's hear from the defendant.
Well, all right, what do you have to say about this, Mr. Matarani? Your turn.
Well, Your Honor, it seems to me with all those problems in a vehicle, I don't see a vehicle even running with all those issues. But Ms. Tyson did bring the vehicle September 20th, and we gave her the estimate for $1,800 for an engine. She denied it because she didn't have the funds. I told her, if you bring your own engine, it'll be $700 labor. She said, well, I found an engine at Davison Auto Parts, one of our suppliers that we deal with. And anybody knows out there, on a used part, it's a 30-day warranty. Electrical is 15 days. It's every junkyard's rule. It's 30-day warranty. Ms. Tyson brought me the vehicle back 5 weeks later. It was out of the warranty period where she had supplied the motor from. The reason why we sell our engines is because we offer our customers 1-year warranty, 12,000 miles. Any issues with the vehicle, everything is covered.
What kind of warranty did you give her then?
There is no warranty on labor. When a customer brings their own part, we don't know if it's good or not. It's hard for us to warranty that part. If we supply the part, we know the part's good, we know it's been tested, and we offer that 1 year, 12,000 miles, because that's what we get from our vendor. The vendor that she got the motor from offered her a 30-day warranty. Now, me dealing with the vendor, I talked to him. I said, what can we do to help this customer out? She
You're
said,
the person who sold her the engine that you
yes,
installed,
it's
right?
Davison Auto Parts.
Okay.
And he said, I'm going to try to look around for the engine. This guy's a dealer as well as I am. We buy cars all the time for parts or, for sale. He said, I'm going to try to look around for a vehicle with a bad vehicle with a good engine so we can swap this out for her. I said, no problem. If you can do that, I'll see what I can do to help her. He said, okay. After talking with Danny for a couple months, it was just like he's giving me the runaround. I said, no problem. I bought a vehicle from one of our local auctions. We pulled the motor out, it was tested, we installed the motor for her at no cost. Just because, she's a good customer, I don't need a headache. I have a lot on my plate.
You did what? Say this again?
We bought a vehicle from the auction that had a good running motor.
Another motor?
Yes. After she had brought me the vehicle, somebody had changed the oil on it. They put the wrong oil filter on there. That's what caused the vehicle to go bad. The motor was locked up.
Did you have the oil changed?
Absolutely not. I have had no work done on that vehicle other than Cal's auto tech.
How do you
But-
know a new oil filter was put on?
Because the motor that she brought us, the oil filter had a hole in it. It was rubbing on the drive shaft. Somebody had replaced the oil. Now, if that oil was changed at her shop, I mean, she'd be leaving out of the driveway, and she'd call me probably 10 minutes later with her motor locked up, not 5 weeks later. A bad oil filter with a hole in it, I mean, you can look at them pictures.
But you only installed one engine in this vehicle, right?
I installed the engine that she brought me.
Right.
And then when she got it towed back the beginning of November, I have an engine for you. I'm going to install it so I can, see you on your way, because I don't like any bad reps for my shop.
Yeah,
She
you
said,
don't wanna
okay,
be
no
here.
problem. She came and picked it up in February. After, dealing with the vendor, it was like a not winning situation. I installed the motor for her. She came and picked it up. I said, your radiator's still leaking. You
The
still have-"
second motor?
Yes.
He installed two motors?
No, he installed one. And I'm gonna tell you,
Wait a minute, how can there be a dispute about that? How can there be a dispute about how many motors were installed in the
I'm
vehicle?
sorry, I'm sorry. Originally, yes, he installed one and then he replaced the one that went bad. So yes, it is two.
You didn't tell me that. That's kind of important, isn't it?
If I didn't say that, that's exactly what I thought I told you. But let me say this, Your Honor, okay? I took the truck to him to get the engine changed. The engine locked up on me, is what I told you. The engine
Right.
locked up on me.
And then you got a
And
new,
I-
wait a minute.
and-
Wait a minute. Then you got a new motor installed, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Right after that?
After that,
February.
in February.
Okay. In February. Now, how has the vehicle been since then?
She's driving it.
I'm
It's what?
She's driving it. It's outside.
How is
But
it?
it won't, it will overheat, because of the radiator. The work that he's done is shoddy work. And
This-
I'm gonna say one thing, just really quick.
Just one thing.
I
that's
returned
right?
it back 5 weeks later, and because, he said I had a 30-day warranty. I returned it back 5 weeks later because when you engage the oil filter set so close to the drive shaft, when the drive shaft spin, it cuts a hole into the oil filter. I had no reason to change the oil and I just gotten the engine put in 5 weeks ago. I had no reason to change the oil.
Okay. When you went to Ray Latham, and Ray Latham gave you the statement here, was that the first or second engine?
That's the second.
The second engine. And when there was oil that leaked all over the place, that was the first engine, right?
The first engine.
How soon after that did you get the second engine installed?
The week of February 22nd.
Okay, February 22nd, and then you had the problem 5 weeks later, correct? You took that into Ray Latham March 12th.
Yes.
Oh, not 5 weeks.
She had problems constantly.
It was overheating and the fuel was the coolant kept running out. I just wanted to check behind his work because I'd already been, screwed over once. I wanted to check behind his work. So I took it to a dealership to see, what they had to say if I had any issues that I would have to deal with.
Why would the dealership at Ray Latham write this?
I have no idea, Your Honor. This is the first time I've even heard of her having a problem with the second motor. You're gonna have problems when you have a leaky radiator. It's gonna overheat. You're gonna run into issues with the vehicle. It's gonna shut down. That's why we had told her it needs a radiator. The car is leaking. She said, well, I keep putting water in it, but you don't understand. In the wintertime, water will freeze.
This
It will
is a-
damage.
Hang on a second, go
It
ahead.
will damage the engine block. I avoided the problem of coming here. That's why I installed that engine for her. I said, whether it was a technician issue or not, I installed this motor just to avoid a problem with the customer. And me and Danny, we work it out. We're business partners. We deal with each other every day. But the problem is this whole situation is it was out of her warranty period from her vendor.
Your Honor?
I can't warranty something I did not buy. When I buy an engine for a vehicle,
Well, the question is whether you installed the second engine properly or not. Ray Latham says you didn't.
I mean,
There was
honestly,
someone
sir,
from there.
honestly, Your Honor, I can go to any shop and just tell them, I'm having a problem with the vehicle, 1, 2, 3 is wrong with it. She's still driving the vehicle. If that vehicle was a fire hazard and she's still driving it, what that dealer said is wrong on that car is in not drivable condition.
So the first engine was bad and the defendant fixed it. So I guess now we're talking about the second engine. Now the plaintiff does have a report from Ray Latham that says that second engine was no good. Let's see if that report is good enough for the judge.
The only really independent witness we have, and it's not really a witness, but it's something, is from Ray Latham, whoever this person is, and I don't know there's no name on here, but I do have a work order from Ray Latham, GMC, and it is on computer-generated form. It looks official. I wish the person had been here for me to cross-examine the person, but the person's not, obviously. But this person indicates that there were a lot of problems about, as to how that second engine was installed. The person from Ray Lathan doesn't know anybody. I don't know why this person would write what he did, except for the fact that there were some problems that he saw with how the engine was installed. And it doesn't look to me, and again, I'm not a mechanic, but it doesn't look to me like these are minor problems. Hoses not routed properly, hoses not properly secured, no gasket on exhaust manifold, exhaust donut missing, wiring harness is not routed properly, wiring harness is not secured in holders, air cleaner not secured on properly, lower intake leaking coolant, oil filter adapter leaking oil. Again, I'm not a mechanic, but it might be that you can still drive an engine that has this. It just isn't going to perform very
possible.
well. Well, I don't know. You know, I don't
That's
know.
why I would have, you know, if she would have called me and told me there's issues, I would have went with my technician that worked on it and addressed them. But this is the first time I've heard of
Well,
since she picked the vehicle up.
she didn't, and all I can do is decide the case based upon the evidence provided to me, and I've got some evidence to indicate that this engine, the second engine, was not installed properly. And I'm gonna accept that evidence because it seems legitimate to me.
Thank you.
So I think you're entitled to what you paid him, not the rest of the stuff that you're asking for, Ms. Tyson. You're entitled to be reimbursed for what you paid him, because apparently he did not do the work properly. There's some evidence to indicate that, which was $700.
And nothing for the engine.
No,
I
because you
have to.
paid for that engine. You didn't pay him for it. That's with a different person. That was
He
Davidson.
bought the engine.
What?
He bought that second engine.
He bought the second engine, not you.
And there's no exhaust manifold on it. Those are things I'm gonna have to go back and
You
buy
paid
and pay
him
for.
$700. You are
Okay.
damaged $700 because of the shoddy workmanship that he did.
Okay.
That's how much it cost you, not more than that.
Okay.
What about the fact that the first engine was blown up because he put the engine in wrong, the first engine?
I've got no testimony as to that. There's no evidence to
pictures.
There's
indicate that.
pictures up there that shows you.
The pictures are, no. Let me, no, don't, stop now. The pictures show oil leaking on an engine. It shows an engine with oil everywhere. Just because you give me pictures showing oil everywhere does not prove that he installed it improperly. There's no connection between, don't argue, okay? I'm trying to make my decision, and, you know, the more you argue, the worse it gets for you in a way, okay? You're not gonna win on that. And I'm explaining to you why, and I would appreciate it if you would listen to me, because you're entitled to an explanation, not an argument. There is no connection between pictures that show oil all over an engine and him installing that engine improperly. Besides, he put in a new engine. So it's the second engine that counts, not the first. And I think he did make a mistake with the second engine, which is why you're entitled to $700, because that's what you paid him. That's how he damaged you. So the judgment will be in your favor for $700. I'll add to that cost, consisting of a $65 filing fee and a $23 service fee. That's going to bring the total to $788. And that's what you're entitled to.
So the judge believed the report. It's always a good idea to come to court with some evidence, some independent evidence to prove your case. Here, the plaintiff did. She won. Now, let's take a look at the next case of I ain't got no money.
Mr. Finazzo, this is your case. What are you asking for?
I'm asking for a total of $624.75 for work that I did for Sharp Tool and
Okay.
last year, April of last year.
What'd you do? What type of work?
Machining.
Okay, you machined some parts for Sharp Tooling?
Yes, yes.
What kind of parts?
Just metal details. I'm not sure what they were for. I get a blueprint and I make parts. That's what.
So you own a tool and die
Tool and
company?
die, basically, yeah.
Okay, so these were some,
Steel, metal
steel?
details,
Okay,
used in maybe fixtures or gauges. I'm not really sure what they're used for.
but in any event, the cost was $624.75?
Yes, I have a purchase order from Sharp Tool.
Let's take a look. Did you have a contract beforehand to do this? Or was this just a
That is-
verbal order that was placed, or what?
No contract, that is the contract right there. That shows the,
Okay, you can have a seat, sir. Was this the request then by Sharp Tooling for the item?
yeah, I believe there was There were $37 a piece or something to machine each one, a total of,
This purchase order was dated tax day of 2009, April 15th, 2009. Here is a blueprint, which means absolutely nothing to me. In fact, there's a couple of blueprints here of the item, which again,
I just had them
Greek to
together
me.
with my notes, that's all.
there's an invoice from Finazzo Manufacturing Company dated April 21st, 2009 to Sharp Tooling for $620.50.
Yeah, that was a clerical error on my part with pressing the wrong button on the invoice.
Okay. Well,
So
we're
they
not
were
on-
getting a deal on those ones for a few bucks.
I guess they were. $4 and what, 25 cents?
Looks like plaintiff did the work, defendant didn't pay. What's the story, defendant?
All right, well, Mr. Murphy, what do you have to say?
The company has no objection to the obligation or the amount of the obligation.
Okay.
We're fine with that. Just, we're in a situation right now where we have insufficient funds to be able to pay the obligation when it was due.
Okay, well, I guess there's not much for me to decide. The company's got to pay it. You understand that, sir, correct?
That's
You're not disputing any of this.
I'm not disputing any of this.
So the defense is, I ain't got no money, Judge. I don't know if this is going to work. Judge?
You know, what is there to say? 14 years on the bench, it's the easiest case I've had. Maybe that's about all I can say. I don't know if you're gonna get your money,
That's another story, eh?
sure is. But, there's no question that the company is entitled to, the judgment. The court is going to enter a judgment in favor of the plaintiff, the amount of $624.75. The court's going to add to that cost, consisting of a $45 filing fee and a $35 service fee, which I believe will raise it up to $704.75. Yes, and I'll enter a judgment in favor of the plaintiff for that amount.
And we've been doing case closed for about 5 years, and you know what? I think this may be the easiest case we've ever had. If you find that you are involved in a dispute that you can't resolve, small claims court may be the answer. Thanks for watching Case Closed. I'm Charlie Langton.